Tranquility, brought to you by Sahaj Mug.
Welcome to Tranquility.
Welcome to Tranquility. In the few past episodes, we were discussing the importance of the heart, living by the heart, heartfulness in a very practical way in our daily life, heartfulness meditation techniques, relaxation, and how essentially to live heartfully.
Hundreds of our viewers who have been following our show have got in touch with us with their questions, which we shall be attending to now.
To be able to answer to those valuable questions, we gather a team of esteemed panelists who join us today. Thank you, Christian Dur. Thank you, Véronique Nicolai. Thank you, Sepite Safavi. And thank you, Jafar Salman. We welcome you in the show. We have a question from Ahmad Al-Halabi. And he says, it is surprising that heartfulness meditation is offered at no cost. Are there any other costs?
There are many people who are not skeptical, but they find it funny that you don't have to pay anything to start, or to join, and so I really like that sentence, that's God is not for sale, so you can't sell this. And so the training is for free. There is some cost, like there are books published, so you have to buy those books, and in some countries you have to pay because it's an association, so you have to pay membership, which is just legal stuff. There are also some workshops where you have to pay for your lodging, your food, or things like that, but the training is free, like the day-to-day things, the starting, and that's only if you want to go further. Then sometimes you might have to subscribe or something, but the training is absolutely free, and that makes it available to all, and that's the point. You said it's our birthright, so just go back there.
I think the question should be, why should we charge for meditation? This is such an ancient art. You close your eyes and meditate.
Yeah.
And then by the time the guy opens their eyes, you give them your pen. It's not. I feel sorry that if you have to convert such a noble idea into a business, or I don't want to be harsh. I'm sure there are reasons for some who charge. But normally, you see, this is a way of life. Supposing somebody who we will call a deserving soul and doesn't have the money to pay, shall we send them off? So, ideally, it should be something which, as you mentioned, spirituality is not for sale. And let's say that it's available for everybody from all walks of life, whether they have money or they don't have money, they should have access
Yes.
to it. Now, if there are any hidden costs, not to my information, but as you mentioned, you know, the publication of books, and books even are sold at nominal
Yes.
price, videos, and voluntary donation, and that is again underline voluntary. It means for those who are willing and able,
Yep.
without obligation whatsoever. You know, this is the case that I know, and I think everybody, when it comes to spirituality, there should be no charge. And I think all the others, they will follow him if they can.
I think you will agree with me that we try to give more than we receive, and really in heartfulness it's not possible. I mean, I feel I'm trying to share whatever I've learned, you know, because it really makes me feel happy. But actually I feel happier to share, so that I gain more by sharing than, so
No,
it's in the giving.
godly. You don't own it to sell it.
Yeah, true.
And then when you convert something into a product, it loses its barakah, it loses its the blessings that it contains. It becomes, you know, like you come, you take a 1 week course,
Yeah.
you know, or a 2 week course, but this thing is for a lifelong.
Yes.
So how are you going to pay all your life? You will pay fees, you know. That's not right.
Question from Ali Rahman, and he asked, what changes do I need to bring in my lifestyle to practice heartfulness?
I think the changes is to allow change and not to prevent change. You live your life normally. Probably you should develop simplicity, patience, craving, and above all, love and longing for what you are looking for, what you are searching for. Heartfulness triggers your inner transformation, and that is what counts, that is what is important. I think we should cooperate in removing the barriers so that transformation will take place. Be confident, never doubt or think, you know, that I cannot make it, you know. You should have that trust, you know, and conviction that change and positive change is taking place, you know, and it is happening. I think this is about all I would think of.
Yeah, I would say the same. You don't have to make changes. Changes happen. So, but when I started, I thought, you know, when I start, I will change. I will stop doing this, I will. And I was immediately told, you know, you can love God and dance in the mountains.
Yeah.
And you know, it's a reference to this movie, The Sound of Music. So where you can, you know, have this love, express love for life or for God, and not, you don't need to be a nun, you know. And I thought it was that when you start meditation, it's like for, you know, Buddhist monks, and I'm going to become a nun. So though there's no change that you have to and to do to start, but changes will happen, like Jaffa said.
Yeah. It's to live a normal life. It's not. Earlier we mentioned you don't live life and go to the mountain or go to the cave, or It's to be amongst life. Take responsibility for your work, your family. Your performance will be better with meditation. Your relationship with your surrounding, with your family will become even more loving and more caring. So it's nothing abnormal that now I have to abandon this and abandon that. It's just to allow things to happen and live your life in the most normal, natural way. Yeah.
Tranquility, brought to you by Sahaj Mug.
We have a question from Reza Murad. What is the difference between practicing heartfulness meditation with yogic transmission and without yogic transmission?
Yeah, that question is a tricky one, because now we are coming to a field where you can only experience in a way. We can give the information what is transmission, but there is a very subtle difference between information and knowledge. Knowledge is somehow information which is being backed up by experience. So, and also I really don't want to talk too much about it, what I felt, because then it's like spoiling the fun to those who try it. And I just can say that when I started it 25 years ago now, it was such a wonderful discovery for me. What is the difference? And I would be so happy that everyone makes this experiment and sees when you meditate without transmission and then you meditate with yogic transmission, with a yogic trainer, let us say, and you experience this effect of transmission, I would say. And we are talking about something which you can't see and which you also can't measure. And I mean, I'm coming from a Western background, so hearing this, I would feel a little bit, weird. What is this thing, transmission? What are they telling me about? You have to experience. That's the only way to see what is the difference. I mean, there are so many waves we don't see. We don't see radio waves. We don't see television waves. We don't see mobile waves. But they exist. So give it a try. See the difference between meditation without transmission and meditation with transmission. Note down your experience before and afterwards, how you felt. And then you'll tell us.
Question from Hala Qurbani. She's asking, what is so unique about the yogic transmission?
Well, transmission is an old yogic technique called pranahuti. It has been utilized by ancient yogis to channel the life's force or the pranahuti into the heart of the disciple to enhance their spiritual progress. Now, heartfulness has made it possible for the aspirants to receive this life force energy, the pranahuti, through a capable trainer called preceptor. You sit and they impart the transmission through yogic by subtle suggestion, from heart to heart. This is about what is transmission. Some, they say it's the since the beginning of creation, the Big Bang, even scientists believe that since the Big Bang, this energy continues to be flowing as the universe keeps expanding. So the same energy is what they call pranahuti, and or life force, and what is used for the yogic transmission.
Just on that, I think you defined it perfectly. There's really not more to add to the question specifically that what is transmission. You've answered it, but just to kind of add a personal touch to how each person can experience it. And it's going to be different for each one, right? Everyone feels it differently. But for me, the first time I actually experienced it, I remember my preceptor came up to me and says, "How did you feel?" And I said, "This is going to," because I was very new, like I was 2 months into practice. So it sounded strange as I was saying it, but I was sure what I'm saying is what was real. And I said, "It's going to sound strange, but it felt like love to me." And to me, that's what transmission is. It's the energy of divine love. And that's what we're all made of. So when you feel it, it's almost kind of like when your battery is charged. Kind of, I feel like your heart is being charged with the energy that gives it life. Yeah. So to me, that's what transmission. That's how I've experienced transmission. It's kind of like the life force of my heart that makes me come alive, and kind of like everything is clearer, brighter, more palpable. But everyone experiences that in a different way, right? Just a personal experience.
Yeah, I mean, all whatever is spoken of is not the real thing itself.
Exactly.
And you have to try it to gain the knowledge of it, and then you yourself cannot explain it.
It's very true. First time I went to India, everything changed for me when I went and was in the environment, and my whole life changed, actually. And the last day I was there, I was talking to our teacher, and I said, "I don't know how to explain when I go back to my family and my friends what happened to me, because I feel like I'm a changed person going back." And he said, "That's exactly right, because it's an experience of the heart. And each person has to experience it for themselves. There's no way with words you can explain what is happening in your heart. Each person has to experience it for themselves, and will feel it in a different way." But to me, transmission equates love.
Yeah.
Divine love.
Well.
Tranquility, brought to you by Sahaj Mug.
The last question that we have today is from Ingrid Seep. And the question is, will my life change completely when I start heartfulness meditation? And how quickly will I see the results?
So, it's actually a good question. I think it depends, right? The question is, will my life change? If I were to answer myself, for me personally, my life changed significantly. But I was so engrossed in the practice when I first started. It was 100%. My full attention was on it. I was getting up with joy in the morning to sit and meditate. Even started meditation before I had finished my introductory sittings, and my trainer was telling me, "Wait, I will tell you when you can start." So I had that level of joy. I felt like I found my other half. I think that's how it felt to me. For me, it was change. And now I say it many, many years later. I look back and I see, yes, I changed very quickly. But at the time, I don't think I could see that. And people who were close to me were commenting on it. My family, my friends were like within a month or two. Definitely when I came back from India after having been immersed in the environment, everyone was like, "What are you doing, Sisi? You're different. You're acting different. You're not the same person we knew. And my entire family started in that same time frame because they could see the effect on me. But for me, I was like, I couldn't sense it because it was happening in such a natural way. It didn't feel like I was changing. It was very natural. It's the best way I can put it. Now, looking back many years later, I could see, yes, everything about me was changing. Right? So that's my experience. However, like in my own family again, I have had people who started but didn't experience the same level of metamorphosis, I would say, that I experienced. It was maybe in a different way, but I think we continue to do the practice partly because at some level we are changing. And something is changing about our life, and that's why we continue to do it. There's something we're getting out of it. Although it may not be as drastic as the story I told about myself, but something is happening that is getting us to come back, sit down every morning and do it again. So it may be in a more subtle way, or it may be even in a way that we can't define or we can't see. But I think change and transformation is a natural byproduct of life, but very, very specifically of any type of spiritual practice that you do. Is the whole point behind it. But how you experience it could be very different. That's been my experience.
Yeah, I think change is life. And otherwise, it will be stagnation and hence death. We are afraid of change because of fear of the unknown. However, the fact that we meditate, it means that we are willing to change. So, change is by mutual consent. You have to be willing to change in order to effect change. This is very vital and very essential. And this is the spiritual law also, is by mutual consent. It's not that you are born into this and then you continue to be there. No, you have to be willing in order that inner transformation will take place. So, again, your cooperation is very essential to allow change, to effect change, that I don't start resisting and I say nothing is happening. I have to extend my cooperation. And this is, I think, the difference between your eagerness and your family's reluctance. It counts a lot because there is no force here. Even the transmission, they call it a forceless force. They say it's, even they call it the weak force, because it will not act unless it is permitted to do so. So even when this transmission is coming, you have to permit it. You have to allow it to work so that the inner transformation will take place.
Absolutely.
And this inner transformation, one could also say that it is very different for each individual.
Yeah.
Some, like you, CPD, they say, I felt it immediately. And some, they meditate, but they don't feel such a huge transformation for the first 2-3 years.
Yep.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden, there's a huge change in their life. It's like this moment they have been waiting for some time, which is clearing so many things in their life. I think it's really an individual thing.
It is, I agree.
When you talk about practice, I mean, it's like when you go to the gym, you have to practice to see a change, So there is definitely, the more you practice, the more you will see change happening. That's for sure. In my case, it's exactly what you described, Christian, where I liked it, but I was not really into it at the beginning, and I just did it in a very superficial way, and I don't think there was much change. And suddenly I decided to really do it, and really something then happened. inside and change and happen, and then it was like another dynamic. So to relate that to the practice, to the fact that it's like really doing something again and again, and it's maybe an effort at the beginning, unless you are absolutely into it from the beginning.
Enamored.
Yeah.
It's somehow like a seed, no, which is planted.
Yes.
And which is growing slowly from inside.
Mm-hmm.
And there are different seeds, no? There are these
Yes.
bamboo seeds where you don't see the bamboo for 5 years, and then within
Shoots.
6 months, it shoots up, and you have the bamboo tree.
No, I think in heartfulness, in many cases, the change is almost instant. And I would give it with a good practice. I would ask any beginner to give it a month to note the change. Good advice is to keep a diary, because even if there is change, we don't notice it.
Yes.
But when we take a diary, we note in brief, very brief, the condition, the experience, and all this. Then we review it. You can feel that something has happened. I was there and I'm here.
You're bringing a very important point, because we are talking about transformation, but what is transformation? We have inner transformation, which we can only observe when we are kind of vigilant, and one tool is this diary writing.
Mm-hmm.
And this outer transformation, the manifestation of the inner transformation, it is something completely different. It's like this heartfulness thing, it is working within us, and that it can manifest, and it can be, kind of showing a transformation in our character, in our personality. It can take much longer than our own perception of this inner change, which you're completely right, Shaffer, you can feel it quite fast.
You can feel it fast. And I will tell you one thing. Supposing in the beginning you want to start something like heartfulness, then I would say your natural right is to test the system. But would you accept that at a certain stage you are being tested as well? Tested in the sense, some in the beginning they feel a lot of experiences, and they feel the effect of the transmission, and their meditation is fantastic, Then all of a sudden they go through a period where nothing happens. But they imagine in their imagination that nothing is happening, that I'm not feeling the same, experiences that I felt in the first week I started. I was feeling these experiences. Maybe it's a test to see if you are doing this to have experiences, or if you're really searching for reality, searching for the truth. It's a privilege for both sides, So this can be also an experience that we go through, But what we need is to be persistent, to be patient, and not only to look for experience, but have conviction, belief, and continue doing it. Whether we have good experiences or we don't have any experiences, we have to carry on, And I think that's what we should be careful with, because there are tricks on the road, so you have to be alert.
In the last few episodes, we have spoken about heartfulness and living by the heart.
Which it's important to know that heartfulness is the essence of the practice named Sahaj Marg, which also means the natural path. It's a simplified way of Raja Yoga, which we all know is the kingdom of all yoga, and is a path of self-realization. And in the next few episodes, we will disclose and explain you all what Sahaj Marg is all about. would like to invite you again in some more panel discussions, and enjoy your presence into the studio. Thank you very much.
See you all, same time, same day, next week.
Thank you. Goodbye.
Tranquility, brought to you by Sahaj Mug.